Good morning, good evening. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day. Had a great weekend. So this is not about Oliver, but we're going to touch bases on him and talk about him very quickly. And then we'll talk about what is going on with the ARS rack and some of the snakes we have put in there. So he's doing very well, eating well, and a little chunky, which is always a good thing for a baby anaconda. So yes, for those of you who have asked and who are wondering, he bites very randomly. He's very quick, fast, and he doesn't just bite once, he bites multiple times in a row. He's pretty chilled out right now, but sometimes if I get out the other anacondas around him, then he gets extremely defensive or agitated. So I try to do a thing on Instagram with him and Mountain Dew, and he lit me up the second Mountain Dew was around. So he is very young, was born 2021 in December. And just talk about him quickly with some of you guys who have baby anacondas. Just a quick tip that I'm kind of noticing, they're kind of prone to getting water blisters. So as you know, I have two females, and Pop-Tart, the older one, about 3 years ago when I first got her, I was noticing all these white markings on her scales, and I was told that they were water blisters. So it's very interesting how a snake that revolves their life around water, or likes to be in water, spending too much time in water is a bad thing for them. Well, not like a bad thing, but it can definitely not be the greatest thing. So kind of going to bounce back between him and Pop-Tart. So about the same age, around that, I noticed with Pop-Tart when I first had her, she was soaking a lot, which is common for the anacondas. She was getting the white spots on her. And when she would shed, they would go away, and then she would soak again for a couple days at a time, and then everything would come back. So with him, I'm noticing that he is getting the same white markings down his body along the tail. We're probably not going to be able to see it because of the lighting, but he is getting a few water blisters. So he's been soaking in the water for about 2 days, which normally on some species that could definitely throw red flags, and it could kind of be a bad thing with respiratory infections, not enough humidity in the enclosure, or that they have mites. But we can cancel that out because of the species that this is and how they like to be in water. So I think with him, I'm going to really have to limit his time in the water. So I don't have a very big area for him, but it's big enough where he can definitely put his whole body in there and soak. So I think I'm just going to give him water for a couple days, take the water out for a couple days, and then just keep that rotation going. They can be perfectly fine without water for a day or two, and then they're going to get water. He's going to get water again. It's just to limit the time that he is in there, just so he's not getting water blisters. And I might even put like a small cup in there just so he can drink water if he needs it. But I did that with Pop-Tart, and obviously she's perfectly fine. And that really helped Pop-Tart get over having the water blisters. So that's what's going to be happening with him. And if you guys have baby or smaller anacondas, just be aware that if you see your snake soaking, for a day or two, and there's white scale, like some of the scales turn white and they kind of like have a little bit of a raise on them, just be aware that it's potentially water blisters, but they go away after they shed. And I don't think it's, I use the same water for all the snakes, and it's tap water, and this is the only species that I've noticed that with. And some of the boas do soak, and they don't blister out, but they don't soak for that long like the anacondas do. So just a quick update on him. Put him back, and we will check out what's going on with the ARS rack. Alright, so we have finally filled the 7030 up full of snakes. So, of course, they're ball pythons. I know some people hate rack systems, but I think there's a time and a place for them. Obviously, there's appropriate sized racks for the appropriate sized snakes. And if you guys have issues with racks, then that is your problem and not mine. So I was thinking about putting Oliver in a rack system, but I think he is doing very well where he is at. And if I put a big water dish in here, it would limit the space for him. But we'll see what happens. So these are the ball pythons. Changing environments on ball pythons could throw them off from feeding, but we'll see how they do. They do need to eat here in the next couple of days. I do have hides in each one. I just took them out so we could see the snakes. But we have them on Repti chip. Finally got a brick of that. And I do think that the 7030 is like the perfect size rack for the babyish snakes. Boas do smaller boas do very well. VPI jungle. And then we have some much larger snakes. We have 1,000-gram pastel clown in here. That does very well. Has plenty of room in here still at 1,000 grams. And she needs a cage clean. But let's go through here. And, you know, I have a couple other ball pythons that are about a little bit smaller than this, but they're in their original cages. And hopefully soon I can get some more bigger cages or another rack system for the remaining snakes. And then obviously when the boas grow up, I'll get those style cages or something else. But it's a pastel pied. Very nice colors on her. Very bright. Even though she's getting older, she's really not faded out very much. So she should be a good breeder in the future. We have a female banana pied. Gorgeous girl. Really nice markings on her. A lot of yellow. Still has some purple coloration on her as she's getting older. And then we have the ivory enchi pied. So really cool pattern on her head. Black eyes. Kind of see the pattern going on down her back. So basically it's a very, very white snake with a hint of yellow. Blotches down the spine. But just a really, really pretty snake altogether. I'm very excited to see how she does in the future. I do need a yellow belly something pied to go with her. But as of right now, she still has about a year or a year and a half. They all actually have about a year and a half to grow until they can start breeding. But I need to figure all that stuff out first before I even think about that down the line. And the two pies that were giving me some issues are doing well. They are on live still, unfortunately. So I have decided to bump up a lot of these bigger ball pythons. Not her, but the butter clown, the pastel clown, and then some of these other ones to mediums. So I'm gonna have the first go around on medium. And she is all fired up. First go around on medium rats because the small rats are just not cutting it. And like she's on weans, she could probably take a very, very small rat. But she's definitely growing very nice. She's 2021. Putting on some size very nicely. So this is a fire enchi clown. Really cool markings on her. Beautiful patterns. She's faded out a little bit, but not much because of the fire in her. And I just love that pattern on her head. So a lot of big things in the future with some of these ball pythons, but that is it. Hopefully you guys have a great day. Thanks for the support on the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.